Today, let's review the Garmin Forerunner 245 Music after 6 months of use and answer my favorite question, is it worth it? Hey, what's poppin'? Jordan Thomas here. Today, I'll be reviewing the Garmin Forerunner 245 Music. Earlier this year, I replaced my beloved Forerunner 35. After several years of PRs and thousands of miles all over the world, I finally decided it was time to upgrade my watch. My experience with Garmin has been excellent, so I upgraded to the Forerunner 245 Music. I thought I could help you with making the decision to purchase this watch, whether it be with music or without, and I want to highlight a few things that came to mind over the last 6 months of use. So let's jump right into the design. I was pleasantly surprised by the overall look and feel. While it is a sports watch, I barely noticed that it's there. It's not clunky or gaudy. The watch is enclosed in this polymer casing. The display is bright and the colors are vibrant, which is very helpful because let me tell you, this watch has more choices than a Cheesecake Factory menu with all the different widgets that you can add, all the levels of customization you can put into the watch. This can be overwhelming at first, but here's a pro tip. If you hold the light button for about 2 seconds, you're given this shortcut type of menu and you can add in your most used widgets here. For me, I referenced the music, the stopwatch, and I even added in a flashlight. You also notice that I chose this customized watch face. It kind of reminds me of a speedometer, and you're able to color code it as well. And this is all made possible through the Gorilla Glass, which I found to be very clear. There was no weird glaring when it was bright out, and it was illuminated enough when it was darker. You got these raised buttons instead of a touch screen. It uses a 5-button layout, which you may take some getting used to if you're not used to Garmin's. And for me, because it was just a transition from the Forerunner 35 to 235, the start and stop button actually end up on the same button. And so when it came to getting splits, I messed this up a few times during workouts. The silicone strap feels decent. There's no hair pulling. They're interchangeable and it's perforated so it breathes really nicely. And there's also plenty of holes for a range of wrist sizes. I consider myself to have a pretty average sized wrist. Durability has been rock solid. I can easily see me owning this watch for the next few years. Garmin is internationally known and locally respected for its accuracy when it comes to the GPS. And they push it even further with this version of the watch by giving us access to 3 different satellites. Now you don't get all 3 at the same time, but you do have a choice in which ones you set up. I went in and kept mine at the default, but I thought it was cool they give us that level of fidelity when it comes to getting the most accurate reading you can from your GPS watch. Once you're ready to start a workout, you get a bit of a red ring as it's locating the GPS, and then when it's ready to go, you get a green, and that way you know that you're connected. Now I found that for my daily run, particularly on a route that I've been to multiple times, it took me about anywhere between like 5 and 7 seconds. When it came to going to a route that I don't visit very regularly or a newer route, it took me anywhere between 10 and 15 seconds. In terms of GPS inaccuracy, the only time that I really found that the numbers were a bit off was when I was on the track, which was to be expected. Look, GPS is not necessarily the best when it comes to rounding corners. I found that there were some instances where the GPS was picking up that I ran further than I actually did. The thing that I love about this watch is that it is a runner's GPS watch first, which means there's lots of options when it comes to running, treadmill, indoor and outdoor track, virtual running, swimming. That's right, you can swim with this, which means it's waterproof, and you've got cycling, strength training, and gym fitness. Whether you want to just take advantage of the set it and forget it type of functions or be able to use manual laps, one of the best things that I think is the interval features. You can set your workout based on time, repeats, distance, and my favorite, open. One other key call out that I would make is that when you're within an interval session, one of the big differences between this and the Garmin Forerunner 35 is that I'm able to get my pace for the rep that I'm in, which is outstanding. As a person that's frequently doing workouts of mixtures of like mile repeats and then maybe 100-meter strides or doing some sort of like mixed type of tempo with different paces, being able to program all of that within the watch and not needing to access an external app is money for me every time that I go about doing it. Naturally, you can connect this to like a Training Peaks or a Strava, but this also syncs with the Nike Run Club app. And as a person that worked really, really hard to try to get to the black level, carrying the phone and trying to sync multiple things to seem like not to move, now I can seamlessly do it. The wrist-based heart rate monitor takes it to another level with this watch, courtesy of Garmin Elevate. For what I understand, this was an improvement from the 235. The accuracy to me was good enough. I'm not a big heart rate guy, but if for those of you that are into it, there also is a functionality that allows you to pair this with a chest strap. The info is available during and after the workout. This is a great smartwatch alternative for someone whose primary activity is running. But there's all kinds of notifications that are customizable through Garmin Connect, whether it be sleep tracking, number of steps. You've got VO2 max, where you can delete messages when it comes to like text messages or email and read them. You can't respond. There's more data on here than I care to ever be able to use, and so I take advantage of disabling those notifications. But if that's what you're into, this is a reasonable watch for you. Look, the battery is going to be better than most smartwatches. You're going to get 6 hours of music with GPS. I found that I was able to get 7 days of working when I was just using the running and GPS. And then I was getting around like 5.8 days when it came to having several workouts of say 45 minutes to an hour while playing music. And so the battery naturally drained down a bit sooner. When it comes to charging the battery up, it does it pretty quickly. Going from like less than 5% to 100% took less than an hour. And honestly, when it came to the music, this to me was a little bit disappointing, primarily from the setup standpoint. You've got primarily 2 ways to do it. You've got Garmin Express and you've got using like an app service. So let's start with Garmin Express. To me, this was actually the simpler of the routes. It just requires me to have to get to my Mac in order to pull music off of it. When it comes to pairing this with Spotify, first and foremost, you need to have a premium account. Next, you've got to download Spotify for your watch through another service, through Garmin Connect, through another service called ThinkIQ. Once you've done that, then you need to make sure that you're logged in, and you can't bring in individual songs. You've got to be able to bring in a playlist in order to be able to access this. This to me just creates way too much friction. Once the music was on the watch, I was able to get to it within a couple of button clicks using the quick menu by holding on the light and accessing my music. One of the other challenges with this is if you have multiple playlists, you can't navigate through them easily while you're out for a run. When I was out on the road, I can't think of a time that I experienced really any dropout. Fortunately, the only time I experienced drop-offs were, again, on the curves on a track. This is for anyone who is that somewhat serious runner all the way through the folks that are like stalking the latest carbon plated marathon shoe. Finally, price. When you're looking at $349 versus $300 without the music, this watch is an investment on either end. All the features are the same. So if music is not a big deal for you, then save the $49.99 and keep it moving. Now be warned, one of the things that actually went into my decision to buy the music, beyond knowing that I would probably review it at some point in time, was the fact that there was only 2 colors available in the non-music version, and black wasn't one of them. Come on, Garmin. Overall, the Garmin Forerunner 245 music exceeded all of my expectations with the exception of the music, and for that reason, I believe this watch is worth it. And if you want to check out another watch review, check this out, and if you want to see more of like a training type time trial video, check this out. I'll see you next time. Jordan Thomas.